Hey, folks, we are back. This is where we finished up with the stomach last time. Are we back? I think we are. Let's see. There we go. We're back. See if I can advance this. There we are. Now that's where I wanted to be. We are going to do the small intestine. Let's start by reviewing our basic layers. Right here, my friends, we have the mucosa. The mucosa has its three basic sublayers. Right there. That is the epithelium. It is simple and columnar. This grayish region here is the lamina propria. And this little skinny stretch of smooth muscle is the muscularis mucosae. So that is our mucosa. I do want to point out all of these crazy projections in the mucosa. These magnificent protrusions are the villi. Singular of villi is villus. So we see a villus in section here with both simple columnar epithelium and lamina propria visible. Villi, increased surface area. More surface area means better digestion, better absorption. All right, what else do we see here? In this mucosa, we also see these little glandular areas right here in between the villi. These little glandular areas are called intestinal crypts or glands. So you can call them intestinal glands. You can call them intestinal crypts. If you look at an old school anatomy book, they will be called the crypts of Leberkuhn. Yeah. We do have a regular good old-fashioned submucosa right there. A good old-fashioned muscularis externa with an inner circular layer and an outer longitudinal layer. And then we have a beautiful serosa on the outside. All right. That is it for our model. Let's look at our actual histology. Look at this guy here. First and foremost, check out the villi. Look at these villi. There's a villus. There's a villus. Even these little chunks are like cut off pieces of villi. All these guys are villi. More villi, more surface area. The purpley edge, when we zoom in, we'll notice that purpley edge right there. That's going to be the epithelium. And then the actual core of the villus, what I'm kind of scribbling on right here, that is the lamina propria. Now, I love this slide because I can see really nice crypts. Like this is a beautiful crypt. That is a beautiful crypt. Maybe I should make it a fatter line. Oh, yeah. Why did I not do that like 8 slides ago? That's so much better. So all of these guys, that is a crypt right there. That is a crypt. I don't know, do you guys like the fat line or the skinny line? Maybe I should go medium. There, that's pretty good. That is a crypt of Leberkuhn. Now, here's our submucosa. Put an S in the submucosa. The submucosa is chock full of these purple nodules. This is a lymphatic follicle. This is another lymphatic follicle. Each lymphatic follicle is a huge cluster of lymphocytes. The collection of lymphatic follicles, like this whole entire batch here, is called a Peyer's patch. So the whole entire batch is called a Peyer's patch. Now, why do we have clusters of lymphocytes, immune cells? Well, here's the key. The part of the small intestine we're looking at here is the ileum. The ileum, of course, is the end. What's next? The large intestine. What's the large intestine filled with? Bacteria. So we don't want a a reverse migration of those bacteria. So we need an army of immune cells to protect against that. And that is what I see here with this Pyrus patch. All right. I got my Muscularis externa right here. Kind of hard to distinguish the two layers, but we'll do so when we zoom in. Okay, let's look at another view. Awesome. This right here is beautiful. This is a villus right here. Look at that villus. There's a villus right there. Notice the abundance of these little white things in the epithelium. These little white guys are goblet cells. We know goblet cells. We know they make mucus. All right, I do see a crypt right there. And I see a big lymphatic nodule, which would be part of a Pyrus patch. And this is my submucosa, of course. Now I do see a little hint right here, a little hint of my inner circular muscularis externa. All right. Here I've zoomed in on another villus. So, well, I mean, not just another villus, a whole bunch of villi. Like, let's talk about this one. I'm just going to kind of put a line around this villus. And my line is actually on the simple columnar epithelium. And each of these semi-clear looking cells, and we got them over here as well, each of those are goblet cells. Goblet cells, of course, make mucus. Mucus is good to lubricate the small intestine for the passage of chyme. Now, what else do I see here? I do see these white spaces right over here. That white space, that white space. Those white spaces are my intestinal glands or crypts. Tiny little hint of a muscularis mucosa right here. And then my submucosa right there. All right, let's look at another view. Here, now we're zooming in on the muscularis externa, and this is just fantastic because here I can totally see that inner circular layer right here, inner circular muscularis externa right there, and then out here, this is my outer longitudinal layer. And of course, I got a little bit of a submucosa up there. Sweet. What else we got for the small intestine? Another view here, just kind of like zooming out a little bit from where we just were, but we got our mucosa. Got our mucosa. This is basically the mucosa, like right here. In our mucosa, we are seeing villi. I'm going to put some V's on some villi. And I got my epithelium right there. It is simple columnar epithelium. Those little tiny white cells right there, for example, are goblet cells. Goblet cells. Gosh, that's some awful cursive. I see my crypts. There's a crypt right there. This kind of orangey pinkish layer is my submucosa. And then right here, this whole thing is my muscularis externa, with this stretch being my inner circular muscularis externa, and this stretch being my outer longitudinal muscularis externa. Now I know a serosa exists, I just don't see the serosa. So it's just sometimes it falls off. All right. Let's see. You know what? That was the last small intestine, which means we're done this little mini histology lecture. See you next time.